Salutations, utopians. Hope all is well in your world. Still in utter disbelief, this feels like the Minnesota Timberwolves Denver Nuggets series a couple years ago, where I'm just like, I did not think the Spurs were going to win this series, and to do it on the road. Team average age is 22, 23 years old. Wemby's in his third season already going to the finals. I don't think I've seen anything like this before. I didn't witness the Lakers for myself, but Magic Johnson, obviously rookie season, winning a championship, uh, and MVP and Rookie of the Year in the same year, uh, is the only player I can think of immediately who just out the gate had that kind of anointing expectations on him and went out and is immediately in some like championship or bust, finals or bust. At the very minimum for the Spurs, it's like finals or bust season type thing. And this young nucleus, which starting lineup average age is like 25. I'm sorry, 22, and they're going to the NBA Finals. And we got a repeat of the '99 lockout season between the Spurs and Knicks. That was the year that Tim Duncan won his first championship. One of five, I think, one of four, one of five championships now. Um, I had my talk ready for the Spurs, and here we are. Obviously Jay Will not being available really hurt the Thunder. Um, Jared McCain, you know, became a sizable investment. I mean, what a trade deadline acquisition. The biggest trade deadline acquisition. And now that first and second looks like pennies in the grand scheme of things, especially when like in the next 3 years the Spurs have like 12 first round picks, if I'm not mistaken. And so um, two this year in a very favorable spot. Going to be very interesting to see how things go. I think you got to start with Hartenstein. They got some big time contracts. Jay Will's contract, speaking of Jay Will, kicks in. He's up there north of 200 M's. Um, Hartenstein provided some intangibles that money can't buy. The physicality, the ability to move without the ball on offense with those teardrops, finding the pockets to attack the vulnerabilities, despite having a three-level defender in Wemby. Um, he's a one-man zone, Wemby, that is, as long as he can identify the weakness. Um, Lou Dort's going to be on the bubble. But first off, I would be very mad right now if I were the Thunder, because the stuff they allowed, the stuff that they let slide during that series, and to be sent home, they got chumped, they got bullied, and um, not as bad as like how that Cavs front line gets in the playoffs sometimes, but like still, Wemby bumping shit, and you can tell, first off, oh man, I don't really want to go there. I hate doing this because I don't like talking about these type of subjects. But people trying to get Shet into this battle with Wemby. Shet has been winning gold medals. He holds records in his state. Obviously, already an NBA champion. Has been the first option, second, and third option at different times in his career already. Uh, he has nothing to be mad about. And how sensitive that we are at times in this world. That man does not want to get involved in a beef with Wemby, not because he's scared, not because of anything else. He doesn't want to get accused of, you know, you know, any extra sense of aggression, and he could easily get bottled into being called MAGA, or suddenly just being accused of things that you really don't want if you are from a certain race or demographic. Unfortunately, when you're just trying to do your job, especially. And so I really don't blame him. That's when people start to digging up stuff and trying to find tweets that they can pin on him. And this dude, he's done everything he can to make this very clear every step of the way. It's the Spurs versus Thunder. It's not Wemby versus Chet or Chet versus Wemby. And, obviously there's content creators who are getting big clicks, big lot view counts from trying to uh, create some type of artificial beef. Obviously, Wemby has got a problem with Shet, but it's a one-sided beef, and you know that bump, that he did on Shet, the Vassal blocking Shet's shot, and then pushing him in the back. That would have sent me. That would have I would have went nuclear. If it's a regular season game. But obviously, they are the ultimate professionals. That's why I really respect this young group. They're gym rats. They're never in the news for anything negative. They make TikToks. They have fun. You got to respect them. You know what I'm saying? They breathe this. They had the most injuries this season, which is what I think really was the deciding factor in SGA getting back-to-back MVPs um, over Jaylen Brown, who really, worked some miracles for the Celtics, keeping them in contention when it was initially believed that they were going to be playing for a lottery spot. Um, but ultimately, it's disappointing in a sense that the Thunder are already they're dying. It was supposed to be a dynasty, and it's already been disrupted. Obviously, Jay Will's injury, he was never himself this year. Multiple times that hamstring got pulled. You really hope he's so young that he's just, uh, it's been a victim of circumstance. This league has suffered so many. Zach Edey, Halliburton. These are guys I really enjoy watching play ball, and just it's been so many players. Gigi Jackson barely just got back this year, but Ja's been out. Franz Wagner of the Magic has been in and out of the lineup. Um, this is just off the top. We're just finally getting a healthy Mitchell Robinson. Now we're hearing that he's been injured. I viewed Mitchell Robinson as the greatest defender I've ever witnessed at the five, up there with Hakeem Olajuwon. Like, this guy's one of the greatest. He's probably the no, I'm sorry. He's the greatest pick and roll center, defensive center I've ever seen. Is what I'm trying to say. Um, just how nimble he was. Now, obviously, he's put on a little weight because the pressure. Everyone always tells, "Oh, you're a big man, put on weight." So he's kind of lost a little bit of a step, but he's still elite, and the greatest of his kind that I've ever witnessed. But anyway, I don't even know how I got to Mitchell Robbins, but um, you know, this Thunder team, just the stuff they had to put up with during this series, the excessive physicality, even this game where, Stephon throws a forearm, which, you know, was called an and one. Um, Carter Bryant launching himself into Shea. Um, I don't have a problem with what Plumlee did. I was saying this online the other day. What he did to McCain. First of all, you're asking a 6'11", 260-pound man, Grizzly, to just come to a complete stop on a dime or try to avoid someone who just inorganically decides to stop in front of you while you're running at relatively high speed. I just don't, you know, I don't know what you're expecting. I know players like, if my teammate's in my way and I'm reading a defense, I will throw my teammate out the way if they're just standing in the middle of no man's land. Because why are you not seeing what I'm seeing out there, yeah, on a play? So for it to be an opposition opponent, um, I don't have a problem with that. Even, Biombo's attempt to block and rough, kind of, giving McCain a stone wall to face to run into. I don't have a problem with it. Not one bit. Okay. Um, it was a good hard playoff series, but they got two picks, some are rumoring that, Thunder might go, Adam Morrow, champion from Michigan. Um, there's a Purdue big man. I think it's Purdue. No, it's not Purdue. It's some Big Ten big man, Hans Steinberg. They might go that route. Try to draft a center. Sorber from Georgetown is looking like a promising prospect for the Thunder, who they drafted last year, missed all of this year. Um, I could see Topic having to step in for some minutes, probably take Lou Dort minutes if they do trade Dort. I think he's indispensable considering how they got roughshod this week. This year. Um, you got to keep a few goons on the team. They were not treated. Shea was not treated like a guy who was the beneficiary of some Jordan rules. He was just, there was too many situations I think in this series where they got bullied around. But um, like I said, as a team that had so many injuries this year, no team endured more injuries. In fact, um, they'll be back. I hate the fact that they didn't even get on a two championship run. Um, but if you're going to lose to anyone, this freak that they got over there in San Antonio, unidentified species who can do everything, that's the way it is. Shet really would have liked to see him be more aggressive offensively. He all year felt like he regressed. Before this year, I felt like you put Shet on Brooklyn, he could possibly average a quadruple double. But now, this season, he was just very drifting. He just drifted a lot, and didn't get to really see him on full display. There was a time last year where he was looking like when Shea got injured in the first part of the season last year, he was my early season favorite for MVP. And then he got injured and Shea came back and the rest was history. But um, this Thunder team, this is a disappointment for them, to not go back to back. Um, you got to tip their hat to the Spurs. They're a young nucleus who really, you know, are talented. They got three guys who you really can consider a dynasty. Then dynasty material where you like we can expect to see them every year. And then De'Aaron Fox really showed his value, um, being a veteran statesman. But Caruso injuring his wrist in this game 7. Um, they're already without Jay Will. It was like, what do you expect? Shea had 35. Um, they missed some free throws in the first half, but ultimately, this team just, sometimes is just not in the cards for you. Um, it's crazy to think that Wemby's only in his third season. Uh, and people got all these different suggestions. I was taken aback by how 285-pound Jay Williams was out there getting thrown, off kilter also. But you know, kudos to the Spurs. This was a major upset. I don't care who was missing. I just can't believe the Thunder are not a dynasty. But that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes, but let's see what this finals has in store. Can the Knicks break their, over 50-year curse of not having a championship? Are we witnessing, a birth of a new champion, a new Mount Rushmore capable player who carries the next generation of fans, kind of like LeBron James? Only time will tell. Uh, I am very scared of what the Thunder are capable of this offseason. They have, like I said, 12 first round picks in the next 3 seasons. Anything can happen. I really believe they're the reason why the collective bargaining agreement, the draft, for the next 3 seasons, they're experimenting because they're like, well, the Thunder got most of the picks anyway. But we'll see how this goes. Sam Presti's the best in the business. He's great at evaluating and finding and identifying talent. So It's very this is a big reset happening this summer, no question about it. This is going to be a action-packed summer, even with the CBA and everything. Teams are going to have to make some real crazy decisions, and I expect at least one or two major ripple effect trades to happen. So, stay tuned. Until then, utopians, I'll try to do better next time. Global out.